I was at the harbor with Tyler, waiting for the boat to a private island where we'd eat at a famous restaurant called Hawthorne. For Tyler, this wasn't just dinner, it was the top of his hobby, almost like his faith. He talked non-stop about the chef, about cooking as high art, about how lucky we were. I smoked and nodded when he looked at me, but I didn't feel what he felt. To me, it was food. To him, it was a church. When the boat arrived, I saw we wouldn't be the only guests. Some big names were coming too, people even I knew. There was Lillian Bloom, a food critic who had discovered the chef, Slowick. Her editor, Ted, stuck close to her. There was George, a once famous actor, with his assistant girlfriend, Felicity. They acted richer and shinier than they really were. 3 tech guys, Dave, Soren, and Bryce, were loud and smug, like they already owned the place. Then I saw Richard with his wife, Anne. My stomach dropped. Of everyone who could be here tonight, it had to be him. I'm an escort. And Richard? He was one of my clients. When we reached the island, the host greeted us one by one. Her name was Elsa, the head host who runs the dining room. When she reached me, she used the wrong name. My pulse jumped, but Tyler cut in, saying plans had changed, and I wasn't the original guest. Before dinner, Elsa gave a tour. She showed us gardens, smokehouses, and small farm plots. Every ingredient was raised, grown, or caught on the island. Everyone who worked there lived on the island too. Even the chef lived there. But his house was off limits. Tyler hung on every word. I didn't. The place felt too sealed off. Inside the restaurant, the kitchen was wide open so we could watch the cooks. They moved in perfect, quiet line. At one table sat an older woman named Linda, alone. She didn't fit, and no one else seemed to ask why. Richard noticed me. He had Anne switch seats so he could see me better. Around that time, Elsa reminded us, "You can watch the kitchen, but no photos." Tyler didn't care. Then Slowick walked in, quiet, and the whole room followed his mood. The first small plate arrived on the house. Lillian studied it like a jeweler checks a diamond. I tasted mine. Good, but not amazing. Tyler scolded me for not getting it, like I needed a lesson. Slowick clapped once, loud. All the cooks turned at the same time like soldiers. He gave a speech about food, art, and respect. Tyler tried to join in, but Slowick shut him down, sharp and in public. The second course followed another clap. Slowick said, "Bread is the food of everyday people. Since we were not everyday, we would get no bread." Tyler whispered that the idea was brilliant. I stared at the plate and felt insulted. Lillian said one sauce was split, so the kitchen sent her a whole bowl of the broken sauce, almost as a joke on her. The tech bros demanded bread, bragging they worked for Doug Varick, the rich guy who actually owned the island. Elsa shut them down calmly. They would eat less than they wanted and more than they deserved. I pushed my plate away. Tyler, still worshiping the place, reached to take my serving. He knocked over a glass. The crash rang out. Before the pieces stopped sliding, Slowick was at our table. Tyler babbled, but Slowick looked only at me and asked, why wasn't I eating? I said there was no food to eat. He gave a rehearsed line about how the portions were enough if we trusted the plan. He waited for me to back down. I didn't. He walked away, and I could see I'd offended him. I glanced at Richard. Anne caught the look and said I looked like their dead daughter. Richard tensed and told her to stop. Another clap. The third course was called Memory. Slowick told a story about his childhood. Taco night, a mother who drank, that's Linda, and a violent father. He said one night his father tried to strangle his mother with a phone cord, and as a boy, he stabbed his father with scissors. He said he regretted not killing him. The dish matched the story, a smoked chicken thigh with scissors stuck in it, set on a phone cord. There were fresh tortillas, soft flatbreads, each marked by a laser with personal images. Everyone bent closer, horror spread. On Lillian's tortillas, restaurants she had ruined with her reviews. On Anne's, photos of Richard with another woman. He called it a prank, but his voice sounded hollow. On George's, reminders of his flop role as Dr. Sunshine. On the Tech Bros, fake invoices, evidence of their fraud. Nobody knew how the restaurant got this info. Tyler's tortillas showed him taking secret photos. He muttered that the chef must hate him. I excused myself. I headed down a hall toward a sleek silver door, but Elsa stepped in my way, face blank, voice firm. I wasn't allowed there. She sent me to the bathroom like I was a kid in the wrong room. In the bathroom, I cracked a window, lit a smoke, and tried to steady myself. Then I saw a staff member walk past outside, carrying giant angel wings like a stage prop. The night felt even more like theater. The door opened without a knock. Slowick came in. He asked again why I wasn't eating and said my refusal hurt him. I said I wasn't hungry. He asked who I really was. I lied. Margot, from Nebraska. He studied me, then said, no. He didn't believe it. Back in the dining room, the staff rolled out fabric on the floor, setting a space for the fourth course. Slowick introduced Jeremy, one of his sous chefs, that means second-in-command cooks. Jeremy had gone to a top cooking school and dreamed of working here. Slowick praised him, then said he'd never be great, only good. He described the life, pressure, misery, critics. He asked Jeremy if he wanted that. Jeremy said no. Slowick kissed his cheek, stepped back, and Jeremy pulled a gun and shot himself. The dish was called The Mess. The cook stood still, calm, like this was planned. Guests gasped and stumbled. Tyler leaned forward, glowing with fascination. He didn't flinch. They carried the body away. Slowick told us to sit. This was part of the plan. People whispered, "Was it real?" Richard snapped. He tried to leave. Elsa blocked him. He pushed harder. At her small signal, staff held him down and cut off his ring finger. He screamed. Anne froze as Elsa gently placed the ring in her hand like a gift. Slowick reminded us it was all part of the menu. Lillian tried to accept that. Felicity begged George to talk to the chef. Then Elsa came for me. She led me into the kitchen. Slowick told me I didn't belong. Not Margot. Not on the guest list. Not part of his plan. He said I had to choose, side with the guests or with the staff. He made it clear the choice wouldn't save me. Everyone dies tonight, he said. That cracked something inside me. I went back to the dining room. Tyler kept whispering about how brilliant the food was. Something broke in me. I slapped him, hard. The room went still. Fear was out in the open now. Soren, one of the tech bros, snapped. He threw a chair at a window. The glass didn't even shake. Elsa walked over and guided him back like he was a naughty kid. Panic buzzed, thin and useless. They brought tea to clean the palate, a small drink meant to reset your taste. Slowick took questions. Tyler asked a silly one about the tea. George finally asked the real question, what is going on? Slowick said this was a tasting of ingredients and consequences. People were part of the menu tonight. He called people out by name. Lillian, a monster who ruined restaurants. Ted, who enabled her. The cook sent Lillian more broken sauce to rub it in. Anne asked a doctor for Richard. Slowick crouched beside them and, very calmly, pointed out they'd been loyal customers for 5 years, but couldn't name a single dish they'd eaten. He talked about chasing exclusivity, then finally seeing the truth. He'd been trying to please people who can't be pleased, people like his mother. He kept saying the place was his. Bryce reminded him that Doug Varick owned the island. Slowick's smile changed. Outside in the dark, we saw Doug hanging from a rig, wearing those angel wings. He was a grotesque lawn ornament against the night. Dave tried to buy mercy with cash, then tried to run. Staff tackled him. Bryce yelled that Doug kept the restaurant alive during the pandemic. Slowick said Doug questioned his menu too much. Elsa crossed her arms, a signal, and Doug was lowered into the ocean and drowned. Slowick said he was finally free. Elsa told me to see the chef. I could have lied or begged, but the thin truth felt safer. I shouldn't be here. He smiled like he'd found the missing page. He said he knew I worked in the industry. I told him I'd waited tables, I'd worked the street, and Richard had paid me to pretend to be his daughter while he did what he did. Slowick didn't flinch. He said he used to love serving people too, until clients like that made him hate the job. In a dark way, we understood each other. He led everyone outside. Catherine, a sous chef, presented the next course and told her story. The chef had flirted with her. She refused. He stopped seeing her as someone to desire. That everyday closeness in the kitchen turned into a weapon. Then Catherine stepped forward and stabbed him in the leg on cue. She hugged him after, like a confession. He murmured an apology. Then he told the men they could run. 45 seconds. After that, the staff would hunt them down. The men bolted for the trees and the beach. Catherine brought the women back inside for the sixth course. She almost shyly said that the everyone dies idea had been hers. She cried. Lillian's compliments turned awkward and wet. Anne asked if I knew her husband. I told the truth. I gave them my real name, Aaron, saying it felt like taking off an old coat. Through the window, I saw Tyler sulking about missing a course. Staff easily found the men. Hiding in the woods or on the beach didn't matter. Ted, who hid in the smokehouse, got a little prize, a passard egg, a soft egg dish, for being clever. The men were herded back. George gave Felicity a bitter apology for being a failure. She said she'd been stealing money. He said he knew. Slowick paused the meal. One thing wasn't settled. He faced Tyler and made him say it out loud. He knew tonight would end with everyone dies. Tyler admitted he'd had a date. She canceled, and because Hawthorne didn't take reservations for one, he hired me. Basically, he hired me to fill a seat at a death dinner. I snapped. I lunged and slapped him again. The staff pulled us apart. Slowick kept going. He praised how much food knowledge Tyler had, then handed him a chef's jacket like a cruel prize. He shoved Tyler into the kitchen and told him to cook. Tyler tried to perform. It was awful, clumsy, and exposed. Slowick mocked him as Mr. Knows Everything, and the dish was a mess. Then Slowick whispered something so harsh that Tyler tore off the jacket and ran. After that, Slowick asked me for a favor. They needed a big barrel from a corner, and Elsa had forgotten it. Elsa said she hadn't, but he ignored her and told me to fetch it. On my way, I passed what Tyler had done and didn't stop. He'd shrunk to nothing in my mind. I headed for the barrel but took a knife instead. I slipped into the chef's house, an eerie copy of the restaurant, same layout, but with a bed in the middle. I tried the silver door, and Elsa appeared with a knife. She lunged, angry that I might replace her. I said I didn't want to work there at all. She said she never forgot the barrel. The chef just hadn't asked. We fought with whatever was at hand. Pans, tools, close and rough. The knife landed wrong. Elsa went still. I hadn't meant to kill her. I only meant to keep her from killing me. I took her keys and opened the silver door. Inside was a small room, the chef's private museum. Photos of him when he was young and softer. A burger cook job, a smile that looked real, a radio. I tried to call for help. My hands were slick. I came back with the barrel. Bryce was getting a birthday cake because someone online said it was his birthday. Slowick looked at me and said he used to be a monster, but now his work was pure. He showed his hands, chef hand, like he could hold fire. A boat's light cut across the water. Staff scrubbed the room clean like stage hands changing a set. Slowick warned us, if anyone begged for help, an innocent man would die. A man dressed as Coast Guard, Dale, walked in. No one spoke. He asked George for an autograph. George played along. On the paper was, "Help us," in big letters. Dale drew a gun. The room moved. Hope flared. Then he turned and aimed at my candle. The gun was a prop. Its flame just lit the wick. He wasn't a real rescuer. He was part of the staff. The hope popped like a soap bubble. Slowick looked at me like a disappointed father. He said I had betrayed him, that I was just like the rest. But I'd seen his little room. I'd seen the burger photo. I clapped once, sharp, and the room went quiet. I said I didn't like his food and wanted to send it back. It felt like homework, not dinner. I said I was still hungry and wanted a cheeseburger, plain and greasy, something honest that fills you, not something that tries to shame you. He smiled, then cooked the burger and fries like it mattered. No fancy plating. He served it with pride. Everyone watched like it was a small miracle. I took a bite. It was exactly what I wanted. I couldn't finish, so I asked for it to go. He wrapped it. Everyone else was still trapped. Anne met my eyes and gave a tiny nod. Go. I climbed into the boat Dale had arrived on and pulled away. The cooks dressed the guests for dessert in silly sticky gear, chocolate hats, marshmallow vests. He picked up a lump of hot coal with bare hands and dropped it onto the setup. Flames rushed out, fast and hungry. The room, the people, it all burned. The restaurant became what it had always wanted to be, an altar. Out on the water, I slowed the boat and finished the cheeseburger while the island burned.